It's a Tuesday morning in London, September 1940. Margaret Davies, a 34-year-old school teacher from Croydon, wakes up at 6 a.m., makes tea, listens to the BBC, walks her daughter to school. She notices the sky is clear today. Beautiful, actually. She thinks, what a lovely morning. Then, the sirens start. Within minutes, 300 German aircrafts are overhead. The sky that was beautiful 60 seconds ago is now full of smoke, fire, and the scream of falling bombs. This happened every single day for 57 consecutive days. London was bombed for 57 days straight, night after night. Hitler called it the decisive blow that would bring Britain to its knees. He was wrong. And here's the thing, he was never going to be right. Not because of luck, not because of Winston Churchill's speeches, but because of structural, fundamental, catastrophic failures in the German plan that made the Battle of Britain unwinnable from the very first day. And later, I'm going to tell you about the single decision Hitler made out of pure ego that handed Britain the battle on a silver platter. When you hear it, you won't believe it was real. Let's set the scene quickly. It's the summer of 1940. In less than a year, Hitler has conquered Poland, Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. The most powerful army on the continent had been either captured or pushed into the sea at Dunkirk. Britain stands alone, and Hitler assumed Britain would just give up, negotiate, make a deal. He actually admired the British Empire. He didn't particularly want to destroy it, but Churchill refused to negotiate, famously, brutally refused. So Hitler ordered his military to prepare an invasion, Operation Sea Lion. But first, Germany needed to control the skies, knock out the Royal Air Force, clear the path for the invasion fleet. That job went to Hermann Göring. Göring promised Hitler it would take 4 days to destroy the RAF in southern England. 4 days. It took 4 months, and it still didn't work. And here's why. Most people think Britain won the Battle of Britain because of brave pilots and Churchill's speeches. And yes, the bravery was real. The speeches mattered. But the deeper truth? Germany walked into this battle carrying 5 fatal flaws that no amount of bravery or bombing could overcome. 5 reasons Hitler's plan was structurally doomed before the first German aircraft crossed the English Channel. Let's go through every single one. Here's the first problem Germany had, and it's almost embarrassingly basic. The German fighter that was supposed to escort bombers over Britain, Bf 109, was an incredible aircraft. Fast, powerful, lethal in a dogfight. But it had one catastrophic limitation: range. Flying from airfields in northern France, the Bf 109 had approximately 10 minutes of combat time over London before it had to turn back or risk running out of fuel and ditching in the channel. 10 minutes and that's it. Less time than it takes to make a cup of tea. Meanwhile, British Spitfires and Hurricanes were flying from home, no range anxiety, and if they got damaged they could land, rearm, refuel, and be back in the air within the hour. If a German pilot was shot down over Britain, he was a prisoner of war. If a British pilot was shot down over Britain, he could literally walk back to his airfield. Germany was fighting a range war from the wrong side of the channel, and there was absolutely nothing they could do to fix that without a land bridge to Britain, which, of course, was the whole point of the invasion they hadn't launched yet. Fatal flaw number 1, Germany's fighters couldn't stay long enough to win. Now, here's where this gets genuinely fascinating, because Germany didn't just face a number problem. They faced something they fundamentally didn't understand. By 1940, Britain had built a chain of radar stations along its entire southern and eastern coastline. It was called Chain Home, and it was, at the time, the most sophisticated air defense network in the world. But radar was just one piece. What made it truly revolutionary was how it was connected. Air Chief Marshal Hugh Dowding had designed something called Dowding System, an integrated network that fed radar data, observer reports, and radio communications into centralized operation rooms in real time. When German aircraft left French airfields, British radar detected them immediately. That information flowed instantly to fighter command. Squadrons were scrambled precisely when they were needed. No wasted fights and no guessing. Germany, meanwhile, was flying blind. They had almost no intelligence about where British squadrons were stationed, how many aircrafts were operational, or how quickly they could be replaced. Göring genuinely believed he was destroying the RAF when in fact British aircraft production was outpacing German losses week after week. He was essentially punching at a shadow, and the shadow kept punching back. Fatal flaw number 2, Germany was blind. Britain could see everything. Now, Germany's plan assumed they could outright the RAF to death, destroy enough planes, kill enough pilots, make it impossible for Britain to keep fighting. Sounds logical. But there's just one problem. Britain was building planes faster than Germany could shoot them down. In the summer of 1940, Germany produced roughly 775 fighter aircraft. Britain produced 1,900, nearly 2.5 times more. Under Lord Beaverbrook, the Ministry of Aircraft Production had turned Britain's industrial base into a machine. Factories ran 24 hours a day. Women entered the workforce in massive numbers, building the very aircraft their husbands and brothers were flying. When the Luftwaffe bombed British factories, and they did, the production barely slowed. Machinery was dispersed into smaller workshops, garages, even requisitioned buildings across the country. You couldn't knock British aircraft production with bombs because British aircraft production was everywhere. Fatal flaw number 3. Britain was winning the production war and the Germany didn't even know it. So Germany is flying with range-limited fighters against an enemy that can see them coming, who is building planes faster than they can destroy them. And we're only halfway through the list. It gets worse. This is where Germany's problems stop being about hardware and start being about decision-making, because the Luftwaffe never agreed on what they were actually trying to do. Phase 1, attack British shipping in the Channel. Phase 2, attack RAF airfields and radar stations. Phase 3, attack British aircraft factories. And Phase 4, attack London and other cities, the Blitz. On paper, those phases make strategic sense. In practice, Germany kept switching between them before any single phase had time to work. Take the radar stations. On August 12th, the Luftwaffe attacked multiple chain-home radar towers. Some were damaged and a couple were briefly knocked out. It was working. If they had kept going, relentlessly hammering those towers, the British early warning system could have been seriously degraded. Instead, Goering decided the radar wasn't important. He said the stations were too hard to destroy permanently. So they stopped. Goring's solution to everything was more bombing, more pressure, and more aggression. He never asked whether the fundamental approach was wrong. Fatal flaw number 4. Germany had no coherent strategy and kept abandoning what was working. And now, the one you've been waiting for, the moment Hitler personally intervened. The moment his ego became Germany's biggest liability, and the moment that saved Britain. Britain is close, genuinely close to breaking point. Then on the night of August 25th, British bombers hit Berlin. Limited damage, and it was more symbolic than strategic. But Hitler was furious. He had promised the German public that Berlin would never be bombed. His pride was wounded, and his rage was absolute. On September 4th, Hitler stood before a crowd in Berlin and screamed, "If they attack our cities, we will raze their cities to the ground." And the Luftwaffe was redirected, away from the airfields, away from radar, toward London. September 7th, 1940, 300 bombers, 600 fighters heading straight for London. For the RAF, this was a gift. Suddenly, instead of fighting over their own shattered airfields, British pilots were fighting over London. With advance warning from radar, with home airfields fully operational, with full fuel tanks. And for the people of London, like Margaret Davies and her daughters sheltering in the underground, it was hell. 57 consecutive nights of bombing, 40,000 civilians dead, entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble. But the RAF survived. On September 17th, Hitler postponed Operation Sea Lion indefinitely. It was never rescheduled. Fatal flaw number 5. Hitler's ego handed Britain the battle on a silver platter. Germany walked into the Battle of Britain with range-limited fighters, no understanding of the enemy's capabilities, a production rate half of Britain's, a strategy that changed every few weeks, and a leader whose ego pulled his air force away from victory at the exact moment it was within reach. 5 fatal flaws, any one of them might have been survivable. All 5 together, it was never a battle Germany could win.